Hi Scorpio, welcome to Magpie Moonchild. My name is Kayleigh and this is your general monthly reading for the month of October. What I'm going to do with this read is read a card for each of the weeks. So week 1, week 2, week 3 and then week 4 and those odd few days at the end of the month. And then I will read a 5th card for the overall energy and ways that we can harness the month's energy in order to be productive and navigate the whole month. As always, the housekeeping is down below, so if you want to know what decks I'm using, how to book a personal reading, and all that jazz, it's all down there. Okay, let's see what we have for you going forward for this month of October, Scorpio. Let's see. What do we have for Scorpio for week 1? I want to say that one, but it's not coming, so it's not that card. It's that one. Okay. Week 1 of October, the first week of October is the 7 of Pentacles, and it's about assessing our resources, our relationships. The Pentacle suit is all about our material world, so it's our people, our home, our jobs, everything that we bring in, our finances. So it's about looking at what we have in our life and where we need to maybe do some pruning. Do we need to make some adjustments where we reassess? We look at the energy, say, of a relationship and we say, okay, this isn't working out completely the way I expected it to. Do I need to apply extra effort in order for us to be successful? Do we need to put in a bit of maintenance, a bit of work together? Do we both need to put a bit of energy in? Do you need to come and meet my energy? Or do we just recognize that maybe we've put in as much effort as we can and it's just not going to reach the full potential we hoped, in which case we cut our losses and leave? That sounds very clinical, but it's summing up the energy of the card. I didn't say it was going to be an easy decision to do this assessment, but this is about looking at our resources and areas where we need to prune in order to be most effective or energy efficient or produce the most yield, a successful yield. So it could be looking at your energy bills and seeing if there's a way that you can budget those, or it could be looking at what you have in your cupboard and how you can be more resourceful with meal planning. Spending that little bit of time on meal planning can save you wasting food, and it can save you wasting finances, money, and it can also save you time trying to stand there at the cupboard and work out what's for tea today, when really you've got a plan of 5 or 6 meals on the board that you can tap into and go, do you know what, I don't fancy the spag bowl that I was going to have today, but I really do fancy chili con carne, so I can use that mince and I can switch spaghetti bolognese to Friday instead of Tuesday. Or you get what I mean. It's about spending a little bit of time maintaining something. A little bit of effort can produce a really good yield if we just adjust what we're doing a little bit, or we trim off the excess, or we look at ways of reducing our energetic outgoings in order to get maximum output and yield. Equally, it can be recognizing that maybe sometimes we need to cut things away, in the sense of maybe you have satellite television and you don't really spend a lot of time watching it, and you can get a lot of it on free television, free connections, or you could use your Amazon Prime or your Disney Plus subscriptions instead. But you recognize that maybe you need to let something go completely. It's not serving any purpose, and you can find a creative way around it that doesn't. So you could be cutting out, say, £50 of your budget each month because you've decided to get rid of the satellite television, because you can get everything that you actually watch through other avenues or online. So it's about looking at areas where we can prune, eradicate completely. If we're investing into it and we're not getting anything out of it, then maybe it's worth stopping our energetic investment completely, and just kind of walking away and recognizing that sometimes things just don't work out. So it's about doing that with our material world, our actual reality world, of our health, wealth, happiness, and also looking at ourselves. Are there things within ourselves, if we invested in ourselves a little bit, whether that's buying ourselves new clothes, or investing in ourselves in the sense of, is there something we want to study? Is there something that maybe we want to invest in our pension fund, or do we want to invest in going to the gym a bit more, or do we want to invest in our diet? Anything that can be done with our physical selves, or those around us, our people around us, or our home, and it's about assessing that and working out what areas need adjustment, or they may well be fine, and that, like, the yield is just around the corner, just keep doing what you're doing. But sometimes we need to look at whether there's adjustments that need to be made on that. Okay, let's see what we have for the second week of October for Scorpio. We have the 9 of Wands, and again, this is that kind of energy where it's like, right, I've set this threshold, I've set this boundary, I've communicated that I need to have something, or I require some sort of movement, or I require some sort of support or backup, or whatever the boundary is. And this is you gently reinforcing that boundary, maintaining that boundary through clear communication. Remember, we are going into Mercury retrograde at the moment. So this month is going to be a lot of miscommunication. So make sure that you are coming from a compassionate space when you are communicating. I appreciate that you didn't mean to hurt me in this way. However, your behavior in this way has had this effect. If you continue with this behavior, I will walk away, or I've been there for you. It's coming from, instead of coming from a punishing defensive space, it's coming from a compassionate passive space where we're going, I understand what you're going through. I can appreciate your position. However, this is my position, and we need to find a way to navigate this going forward, and respecting that you have value as much as the other person has, that you are giving as much as you are receiving, or that you are maybe not receiving what you are giving. And that's why we're having this conversation about where you are going to. I will not be giving as much to this relationship because you're not meeting my energy. So I will be stepping away until you come and meet me, or you choose to fall away. So this is about maintaining boundaries, making sure that communicating what's expected, making sure we're coming from an understanding, compassionate place when we do. And the thing with a boundary is we set it in place in order to protect our energy. So if somebody's behavior is not being respectful of our energy, of our worth, we recognize our own worth. And if they're not respecting that, then we put a boundary in place. I will not tolerate that behavior. If you do that, I will have to walk away, or I will disengage from you in some way or form. There will be consequences if they continue that behavior, basically. It's recognizing that sometimes an apology without changed behavior is manipulation. They have no intention of that. Therefore, they are flouting a boundary. So you have this boundary in place, and there are 3 ways that they can react to that. They can either come to it and go, oh, there's a boundary. Oh, we're not meant to be together again. And they'll walk away neutral. They don't want to be in the inner circle. And that's fine if they do that. And there are people that will see that and go, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand that I was acting that way. Here, let me change my behavior. I'm sorry, I changed my behavior. I continue to continue that behavior, improve behavior, and I am welcomed into the energetic circle of the person that I have previously upset or disrespected their boundaries previously. Or there are the people that the boundary was built for, where they come up to the boundary and they kick off. They don't like it because you are now withholding their supply of whatever it is you were giving to them, your energy. And now they're not getting that anymore, and they're not prepared to actually invest and give back as much as they were receiving. They quite like the deal where they didn't have to do a lot and got everything. So they're kicking off because they're trying to intimidate you into opening that up again. So this is about going, this is your last chance. You've had your chance. I'm now going to cut you off completely, or well done, you've stepped up, or thank you so much for the path that we've traveled together. I'm really sorry that our journey has ended, but I'm letting you go with love, light, and wishing you nothing but happiness. So it's about reinforcing boundaries this week and respecting your value, and also honoring those decisions that you made before about where maybe those relationships needed reassessment, and then reinforcing the decision that you made, and carrying that out. Okay, let's see what we have for the third week of October for Scorpio. We have the Page of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles is somebody that's considering where to commit energy and time and effort and possibly finances. You're not quite ready to commit yet, but you are considering committing to it, because you appreciate that whatever it is you want to achieve is going to require a lot of effort, a lot of study, a lot of energetic input, emotional input, physical input, possibly financial input. So you're probably a little bit reluctant to do it. You know it's what you want to do, but right now you're a little bit reluctant, or you don't feel ready in order to do that. This can be with regards to a relationship. It could be that it's getting a bit serious and you're thinking, oh, do I actually do that? Do I actually open myself up and commit to that, or do I still take it a bit steady? And it's kind of that kind of energy. Oh, there's a job that I'd kind of like to go for, but am I ready to invest in the amount of academic study that's going to be attached to that? Is now the right time for me? It could be that you are a parent and you have to consider that maybe there are childcare costs. That means you can't change career just yet, but once they get into school you don't have to pay so many nursery fees, and you can then look into it. So it's about looking to the future of where you want that to be, and it may not be the time to step on that path and commit to that path just yet, but you are at least researching and looking at different avenues of where it is you want to be and how you're going to make that happen when the time is right, when you are prepared to do that commitment, when you can dedicate that time and effort to that project that you want to have come to fruition in the future. It's kind of like storing a seed in darkness. The potential is there, it's waiting to happen. You just need to store it until you find the right field to plant that seed in, right? The right environment, the right soil to plant that seed in. Okay, let's see what we have for the final week and last few days of this month. It is the Ace of Swords. And off the back of that Page of Pentacles, that's probably a really good card. Also with these boundaries and the assessments, it's a really good card. It's about making decisions. It's about communicating, clear, honest communicating. This sword is double-edged. It can cut through the crap and get to the truth. And equally, sometimes that truth means that you have to cut things out of your life. You have to forcibly remove things out of your life. This can be people. This can be cutting communication. This can be communicating some hard truths that maybe you don't want to upset the person, but you have to tell them the truth of the situation, because it just can't go on the way it is anymore. Things cannot happen. There needs to be an adjustment, and that requires you telling the truth or speaking your truth or communicating with them. With the Ace of Swords, we also need to remember that this is clear, honest communication. There can be no ambiguity, because ambiguity can lead to the wrong head being cut off. You could say John Smith is being executed today, and John Smith, it doesn't specify which John Smith, and the wrong one could get chopped. So that's a very, very harsh analogy, but it's proving the point that you could say, okay, go and pick the red roses in the garden, go and pick me some red roses in the garden, and they pick it from the bush that isn't quite ready yet, or the one that's your prize winning bush rather than the bush that you use for the table flowers. But you haven't communicated which bush those red roses are coming from, but both grow red bushes. Are you going to punish the person that cut the tree, or are you going to punish or take some of that responsibility yourself because you didn't clarify which bush it was and they've just gone out and picked flowers? So again, it's about making sure there's no ambiguity, that communication is clear, checking the fine print of any legal documents that we are signing. We are in Mercury retrograde this month, so make sure that you are verifying facts and gaining information and making sure that you completely understand the situation before you make any decisions. It's about making fully informed decisions and taking ownership for those decisions when you haven't gained clarity. Okay, let's see. What do we have for the overall energy for this month? That is also the decision to walk away from people as well, because when we're in the Swords energy, we're operating from a headspace. We know what is logically right to do, and sometimes that can mean that's the head overriding the heart. So it may well be that there's a hard decision to cut people out of your life right now, and that is the head over the heart decision. It's considering the what needs to be done is a necessary thing. The overall energy for the month, actually saying that's why I was a bit stalled. You have the Two of Cups and we have the Eight of Cups, and it's about maybe recognizing that there are relationships, even romantic ones, because the Two of Cups is about, and relationships with ourselves. It's about looking at our energy, reflecting over relationships that we have, how we interact with other people, where our energy intersects with people, and recognizing that sometimes even in our most closest relationships, our dearest, sincerest soulmate connections, there is an imbalance of energy, and sometimes we can get to a point where we cannot keep maintaining an imbalance. And if somebody isn't prepared to meet you in the middle. It's kind of finding that difference between what is a compromise where you're both mutually benefiting from a decision to meet in the middle, and sometimes we are settling, in which case we're probably giving a lot more than we are receiving. And if you're in this situation where you are settling instead of thriving and expanding and enhancing each other's lives, and actually it's become quite toxic and painful, sometimes it is necessary, as I said with that sword card, to cut people out your life, and we have to walk away from the situation, because it's very much this energy. It's reached all it's ever going to be. It's not the potential that you perceived it could be, but you've poured all this effort and energy and time into it, and it's just not going to come to fruition. It's not going to reach that potential. It's not going to bring fulfillment and happiness and joy. And it's about recognizing that if we're not in a healthy relationship for a prolonged amount of time, and I'm not saying that if it's all give for a little while, for a temporary situation, you should walk away. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, yes, you should. The Eight of Cups does not come in an easy decision where somebody is giving for a week and goes, oh, no, this is enough, I'm walking away. The Eight of Cups is you have invested time, you have invested effort, you have invested conversation. You've tried everything you can to make this work. It's just not working. It's just not going to reach that point where you are fulfilled, where you have this legacy, this prolonged exponential growth with each other, because it's just not healthy where you are right now. And sometimes that means the most tender relationships have to be walked away from, because they are no longer balanced, they are no longer healthy, and in fact they're actually probably having a negative, damaging effect on both people. And sometimes, as hard as it is, as much as you love someone, to walk away is the best choice, because you're just not going to reach that fulfillment. It's just not healthy. So sometimes we have to make those tough decisions that maybe we don't want to do, but we have to claim the decision and make it. So yeah, absolutely consider every point of view before you do that. So yeah, anyway, I hope that is of some use to you this month, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye for now.